Now, from the nation's capital, here's the Pentagon Channel's ATS in brief.
It's the end of an era. After more than 30 years, the Navy said goodbye to the legendary F-14 fighter jet. A Tomcat took part in an official last flight ceremony Friday at Naval Air Station, Oceana, Virginia. Naval aviators and local dignitaries were in attendance to honor the Tomcat and watch the jet take off for the last time.
It ends its career at the top of its game, a premier naval strike fighter. But it's really not an end. The Tomcat lives on to its enduring mission. It lives on through the men and women committed to those missions.
The F-14 then flew into the sky for the final time, headed to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona, where it will be stored. Originally designed to intercept Soviet anti-ship missiles, the F-14 could win a dogfight on its reputation alone. In the 1991 Gulf War, it was the only fighter plane in U.S. service that didn't get a kill. And that's because every time a Tomcat popped up on Iraqi radar, the enemy planes would turn and run, rather than take on an F-14. The Navy officially launched a new era of warships this weekend with the christening of the first littoral, or close-to-shore combat ship, Freedom. Thousands attended the christening ceremony at the Marinette Marine Shipyard in Wisconsin. The ceremony included the traditional smashing of a champagne bottle across the ship's bow. The Freedom then made a dramatic side launch into the Menominee River. The ship is the first in the Navy's arsenal that can operate close to shore in waters less than 20 feet deep. Navy leaders say the vessel will be used as a platform for the launch and recovery of manned and unmanned vehicles. The Freedom can also be reconfigured for anti-submarine, mine, or surface warfare. The ship will become USS Freedom when it is commissioned next year. It will be home-ported in San Diego. A town hall meeting at the Pentagon Friday.
And welcome the Secretary of Defense, the Honorable Donald Rumsfeld, and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Peter Pace.
A warm welcome greeted the top two leaders in the Department of Defense.
That we have to treat every day the way we felt on September 11th and September 12th.
With no clear idea of where the front line of the battlefield is, Secretary Rumsfeld was asked who the enemy is.
There's a struggle within the Muslim faith, within that religion. A handful, a relatively small number of violent extremists are trying to hijack that religion and seize it and enforce their view on the hundreds of millions of Muslims that exist in the world who do not agree with the violent extremists.
Secretary Rumsfeld and General Pace fielded questions from transformation to what the department's future looks like. But then one audience member asked the open-ended question, what they would like most of all.
Peace.
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 Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld met with Afghan President Hamid Karzai Monday to discuss the latest developments in the war against the Taliban rebels. President Karzai will also meet with President Bush at the White House later this week. The Afghan president is expected to discuss the importance of eliminating the Afghan poppy trade as part of defeating the Taliban. The Afghan leader's trip comes as Muslims around the world begin observing the holy month of Ramadan this weekend. In Kabul, residents prayed on the streets and inside mosques. Coalition commanders are concerned the holy month will bring a spike in violence against troops and civilians both in Afghanistan and Iraq. It's loosely referred to as the fifth branch of the military, but the role the Coast Guard plays in protecting our nation is just as important as those other branches. And the Pentagon Channel's latest installment of Recon, Air Force Sergeant Daniela Marcus takes an in-depth look at the men and women who make up the Coast Guard and the missions they carry out. You can see Recon Always Ready on the Pentagon Channel or download it as a podcast at pentagonchannel.mil.
Recon, a new documentary every month on the Pentagon Channel.
If you're currently a chef on active duty, TV cooking show icon Emeril Lagasse wants your favorite recipe. Any military chef who has a favorite dish can enter the first ever military-only Emeril Cooking Contest. The contest runs now through October 9th. Interested chefs can enter on foodnetwork.com.
To find out how you can watch the Pentagon Channel where you live, contact Dish Network.
TSP share prices for Monday, September 25th opened at $11.56. For the G Fund, $11.01. For the F Fund, $14.47. And for the C Fund, $16.99. For the S Fund, and $19.91 for the I Fund. For the Pentagon Channel, I'm Petty Officer Scott Webb.